family reunion began, and my mom told me to stay near the kitchen, so you're useful. She didn't even lower her voice. She said it like it was the most normal instruction in the world, like she was reminding me where the bathroom was. Mom pressed a stack of paper plates into my hands. Too many, the edges biting into my palms, and tilted her chin toward the kitchen doorway. Stay near the kitchen, she murmured, smiling at Aunt Leanne while her eyes stayed on me. So you're useful. Then she patted my arm twice, brisk and final, like she'd just assigned a task to staff. I stood there in Nana's backyard with the plates wobbling, the sun beating down on the back of my neck, and the sound of laughter and greetings swelling around me as people poured through the side gate. The smell of barbecue smoke drifted over, mixed with sunscreen and cut grass. Someone's Bluetooth speaker played a cheery playlist that made everything feel staged. I could feel my face getting hot. Part embarrassment, part anger, part that familiar sting of being shoved into my role before I'd even said hello. When I tried to look past her toward the picnic tables, Mom's fingers tightened around my forearm for just a second, nails pressing in like a warning. Don't, she whispered without moving her smile. Not today. I carried the plates to the kitchen like a robot because my legs were moving and my brain was still trying to catch up. Inside, the house was loud and humid from the oven and the bodies and the open sliding door. My aunties had already taken over every surface with trays of salads and bowls of chips, and the air smelled like roasted chicken, garlic bread, and the vanilla candles Mom lights, which she wants the house to feel welcoming. I set the plates down on the counter and stood there with my hands hovering uselessly in front of me, like if I didn't grab something to do immediately, I might fall apart. Through the window above the sink, I could see the backyard filling up, cousins hugging, kids sprinting, uncles slapping each other on the back. My brother Ben was already out there with a drink in his hand, smiling easily, getting pulled into conversations. No one looked toward the kitchen. No one looked for me. My stomach twisted hard enough that I had to grab the edge of the bench. I hadn't even taken my shoes off. It was supposed to be a simple family reunion. That was the wording on the group chat. Simple. Casual. Everyone bring a plate. My mom had been planning it for weeks like it was her personal project. Her chance to prove our family was still close despite the last few years being messy. Nana's health has been up and down. There's been arguments about who helps her and who doesn't. My dad and his brother haven't spoken properly since last Christmas. There are cousins who don't come to events anymore because of politics or old fights or just exhaustion. But Mom loves a performance. If she can get everyone in one backyard smiling for photos, she can convince herself everything is fine. And if everything is fine, then she doesn't have to look too closely at the parts of our family that aren't. I almost didn't go. I was sitting on my bed that morning staring at my phone, reading Mom's text in that tone she uses when she's already decided how the day will go. Please be helpful. Please don't start anything. Please just be normal. It's like she thinks normal is a switch I refuse to flip out of spite. My partner asked if I was okay, just a casual "you good?" while tying her shoes, and I lied automatically, said, "Yeah, just tired." I didn't want to explain how walking into my family's gatherings feels like walking into a courtroom where I'm always on trial, but nobody tells me what the charges are. I'm Feti. I have a job. I pay my bills. I have friends who actually like me. I have a life outside my family that is, honestly, pretty steady. But the second I step into that backyard, I shrink. My body remembers things my brain tries to downplay. The way Mom's eyes scan me for signs I'm about to embarrass her. The way Dad goes quiet and watchful. The way my relatives talk about me like I'm a phase that never ended. And the worst part is I can feel myself slipping into it too. Trying to be small, trying to be agreeable, trying to be useful so nobody can accuse me of being a burden. Which is why Mom's comment hit me so hard. It was so casual, so practiced. Stay near the kitchen so you're useful. Not help if you can. Not can you give me a hand. It was like she'd already decided that my value at this reunion was in carrying things, washing things, refilling things, staying out of sight. And she knew I'd do it because I always do. The one time I don't, I become the story. I started grabbing tasks like they were life rafts. I refilled bowls of chips. I arranged cupcakes on a stand. I carried ice to the esky. My aunties thanked me in that vague way people thank someone they assume has nothing else going on. Good boy, Aunt Leanne said once like I was 12, and I felt my teeth grind. I kept smiling anyway because I could feel Mom in the background like a spotlight operator. If my smile slipped, she'd be there hissing, "Fix your face." Every so often, someone would wander into the kitchen, grab a drink, and say, "Oh, you're in here," like they just discovered a storage closet had a person in it. Then they'd drift away again. I could hear the laughter outside, loud and warm. I could hear Ben telling stories, people reacting to him like he was the main character. I could hear my cousin's baby squealing. I could hear Nana's laugh too, thin but real, floating in from the patio where she was seated like a queen on a cushioned chair. The sound made my chest ache because I love Nana. I came for Nana. At one point, I stepped outside with a tray of drinks, and the sunlight hit my eyes so hard I blinked. I moved through clusters of relatives, offering cans, smiling, nodding, listening to little conversations I wasn't really part of. Then my cousin Talia looked at me and laughed. "Oh my God," she said, loud enough for a few people to hear. "Mom's got you on kitchen duty again." Again, like it was a tradition, like it was funny. I felt my face heat. I tried to laugh it off, but it came out wrong. "Yeah," I said. "Apparently I'm useful there." Talia's laugh faltered. She glanced at my mom, who was by the table arranging napkins like she was styling a magazine shoot. Mom didn't look up, but I could feel her awareness like a hand on my throat. Talia lowered her voice. "Sorry," she muttered. "I didn't mean—" "It's fine." I lied automatically and carried the tray away before my emotions could spill. I found Nana sitting near the sliding door, her feet up on a small stool, sunglasses on. She looked tiny in her big chair. I crouched beside her and handed her a drink. "You okay?" I asked. Nana's lips tilted. "I'm all right," she said, then tapped my wrist lightly. "You eating?" "I will," I said. Nana's fingers lingered on my wrist like she knew I was lying. "Your mother's busy," she said carefully, and I could hear the politeness in her tone, the way she still tries to protect Mom's image even when Mom doesn't protect anyone. "You help a lot." I swallowed. "Mom told me to stay near the kitchen, so I'm useful," I said, quiet enough that only Nana could hear. Nana's mouth tightened. She didn't look surprised. She just looked tired. "Ah," she said softly. "That old habit. Histoire de hair. Does it ever bother you?" I asked. "The way they—" Nana exhaled. "Of course it does," she said. "But your mom thinks she's keeping peace. She thinks if everyone has a role, nobody fights. Except the roles are humiliating," I whispered, and my voice wobbled. Nana reached out and patted my hand. "I know," she said. "I'm sorry." That "I'm sorry" from Nana hit me like a punch. Nana apologizes for things like the weather. Nana apologizes when the kettle takes too long. Nana apologizing for how my mother treats me made my stomach drop, because it meant she'd seen it for years and couldn't stop it either. Or didn't. I stood up slowly, my knees stiff. "I'll bring you some food," I said, and Nana nodded, but her eyes looked worried, like she could sense something building. Back inside, Mom was in the kitchen talking to Aunt Leanne. I tried to slip past, but Mom's eyes snapped to me immediately. "Can you start clearing the plates?" she said, loud, like a directive. I hesitated. It was a tiny hesitation, but Mom's face tightened instantly. "Now," she added, still smiling. Something in me snapped. Not explosively, not dramatically, just a quiet internal click. I set the serving spoon I was holding down on the counter. "Mom," I said calm, "can you stop talking to me like I'm hired help?" The kitchen went silent for half a second. Aunt Leanne froze mid-sip. My cousin Jess, who was cutting watermelon, stopped and stared. Mom's smile stayed on her face, but her eyes turned sharp. "What?" she said, too sweet. "I'm not staff," I said. My hands were shaking slightly, but I kept my voice steady. "I'm your child. You didn't even say hello to me. You handed me plates and told me to stay near the kitchen, so I'm useful." Mom's cheeks flushed. "Don't do this," she hissed, low enough that only I heard. Aunt Leanne laughed awkwardly. "Oh, come on," she said, trying to soften it. "Your mom just appreciates you help." Mom jumped on that like a lifeline. "Exactly," she said brightly. "I appreciate it. You're always so Good at this stuff. Good at this stuff. Like my personality trait is washing dishes. I felt my chest tighten. The old instinct screamed at me to shut up, to swallow it, to be easy. But I've been swallowing for 30 years. And today, something about being told to stay hidden while everyone else got to be human, it just broke the seal. I'm good at it because you trained me to be, I said, and the words came out before I could stop them. You trained me that my value is in being useful and quiet, so you don't have to deal with me as a person. The silence that followed was different. Not awkward now. Alarmed. Mum's eyes widened, and for a second I saw fear. Real fear, because she could feel the narrative slipping. Stop, she whispered again, and now she wasn't even pretending to smile. We have people here. Exactly, I said, and my voice cracked slightly, which made Mum's eyes sharpen like she'd caught me, giving her a weapon. You care more about people than you do about how you treat me. Mum's face hardened. You're being sensitive, she snapped, loud enough that it carried. There it was. The script line. The label. I heard movement behind me and turned to see Dad in the doorway, drawn in by the raised voices. Ben appeared behind him, holding a beer, eyebrows furrowed in confusion. A couple of cousins drifted closer, pretending they were just walking by. Mum's voice shifted into victim mode instantly. I'm just trying to host, she said, hands lifting like she was helpless. And he chooses now to have a meltdown. I felt my throat tighten. I'm not having a meltdown, I said. I'm standing here talking to you. Dad's jaw clenched. He looked at me like I just punched a hole in the wall. Not today, he said low. Ben Fronet. What's going on? He asked. Mum turned to Ben, eyes shining with tears like she could summon them on command. Nothing, she said. Your brother is just doing his thing. My thing. Like I'm a malfunction. Ben looked between us, uneasy. What thing? He asked again, and I could tell he was trying to be fair, but fairness in our family is fragile. I took a breath. Mum told me to stay near the kitchen, so I'm useful, I said, like she always does, and I'm tired of it. Ben blinked. Mum, he said, startled, did you say that? Mum's eyes flashed. I said stay near the kitchen so you can help, she corrected quickly. Don't twist it. Twist it. Another script line. When I repeat her words, it's twisting. When she repeats her own words, it's helping. Dad stepped forward, voice harsh. Enough, he said. Go outside. Both of you. Not in here. That was the moment I realized it wasn't about resolving it. It was about relocating the mess, so it didn't stain the performance. Dad wasn't asking why Mum said it. He wasn't checking if I was okay. He was managing optics. I looked at him, and something inside me went cold. No, I said quietly. Dad stared. What did you just say? He asked, like he couldn't compute disobedience. I said no. I repeated. My hands were trembling now, but I kept them flat on the counter so nobody could call me dramatic. I'm not going outside to be scolded like a child for having feelings. If you want to talk, we can talk here. Mum's breath hitched, furious. You're embarrassing us, she hissed, and it was so honest it almost made me laugh. Ben's eyes flicked around the kitchen at the little audience that had formed. Maybe we can just, he started. No. Mum snapped at Ben, then immediately softened. Not you, darling. Just let your father handle it. That made Ben flinch. He took a step back like he didn't want to be involved. And I don't blame him. In our family, if you step into conflict, you risk becoming the new problem. Aunt Leanne cleared her throat. Maybe he's just stressed, she offered, trying to smooth it over. Mum latched on again. He's always stressed, she said, laughing a little like it was a joke. He makes everything hard. The room laughed. Not warmly, nervously, and I just couldn't take it anymore. Not the words, not the laughter, not the way everyone turned my pain into entertainment, so they didn't have to sit with it. I picked up my keys from the counter. I'm leaving, I said. Mum's eyes widened. Don't be ridiculous, she snapped. Dad's voice sharpened. Sit down, he ordered automatic. I looked at him. No, I said, and my voice was calmer than I felt. I came to see Nana. I helped. I did what you wanted, and I'm still treated like a problem. So I'm leaving. Mum's face twisted into panic. You're ruining the reunion, she whispered, voice shaking. No, I said. I'm just refusing to be useful and invisible at the same time. Then I walked out through the sliding door into the backyard, sunlight hitting me like a spotlight. Conversations faltered as people noticed me moving with purpose. I could feel eyes turning. I heard someone say my name. I kept walking straight toward Nana. Nana looked up as I approached, and her face changed immediately. Concern, then a quiet kind of sadness. "Oh," she said softly, like she'd been expecting this day for a long time. I crouched beside her chair again, my throat tight. "I'm sorry," I whispered, because of course my reflex is still to apologize. Nana's hand reached out and cupped my cheek, warm, light, trembling slightly. "Don't you apologize," she said firmly. "Not for being a person." My eyes burned. "Mom told me to stay near the kitchen, so I'm useful," I murmured, and my voice cracked. And then when I said something, they acted like I was dangerous. Nana's mouth tightened. She looked past me toward the kitchen window where Mom's silhouette was visible. "Your mother learned that from somewhere," Nana said quietly. I swallowed. "From you?" I asked before I could stop myself. Nana flinched like I'd tapped a bruise. Then she sighed. "Yes," she admitted. "From me. From your grandfather. From the way we did things. Roles. Quiet. Keep the peace." Her eyes shone. "And I was wrong. I was wrong, and I'm sorry." That apology from Nana, direct and honest, undid me more than Mom's insults ever could. I pressed my lips together hard to stop myself from crying in the middle of the yard full of relatives. Nana squeezed my hand. "Stay with me for a bit," she said. "Let them host. You sit." So I sat. I sat beside Nana's chair on the edge of the patio step, and for the first time since arriving, I didn't carry anything. I didn't refill anything. I didn't make myself useful. I just existed, breathing, listening to the noise of the reunion without being inside it. My heart kept pounding like my body didn't trust safety yet, but slowly, with Nana's hand on my shoulder, it eased. Of course, Mom noticed. Of course she did. 10 minutes later, she marched outside with that tight smile plastered on, the one she uses for public. "There you are," she said brightly like nothing happened. And she leaned down and hissed under her breath. "Get up. Help. Don't sit there sulking." Nana's voice came like a blade, calm and sharp. "He's not sulking," Nana said. "He's sitting with his grandmother." Mom froze. Her smile flickered. "Mom," she said, strained, "we have guests." Nana's gaze didn't move. "Then host them," she said, "and let him be." Mom's cheeks flushed deep red. She glanced around, checking who heard. A couple of cousins pretended not to listen, but their eyes were glued on us. Ben stood near the barbecue, watching, expression unreadable. Mom's voice went low, furious. "You're undermining me," she hissed at Nana. Nana didn't flinch. "I'm correcting you," she said softly. Mom straightened and backed away like she'd been slapped, her public smile trembling. She turned and walked back inside, stiff. Dad followed her a moment later, not looking at me. Ben approached slowly, beer forgotten in his hand. He crouched a little near me, keeping his voice low. "Are you okay?" he asked, and it sounded awkward, like he'd never asked me that sincerely before. I stared at the grass. "I don't know," I admitted. "I'm tired." Ben swallowed. "Mom's intense today," he offered like it was new. I laughed once bitter. "She's intense every day," I said. "I just usually hide it for her." Ben's face tightened. He looked toward the kitchen, then back to me. "I didn't hear her say the useful thing," he said quietly. "I know," I replied. "It's not for you. It's for me." Ben looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't. Instead, he sat on the patio, step a little distance away, not touching me, just near. It was the closest thing to support I'd ever gotten from him in a moment like this. The reunion continued around us. People ate, laughed, took photos. Mom avoided looking at me. Dad stayed busy at the barbecue like grilling meat could solve emotional problems. A few aunties gave me tight smiles like I was a difficult child. One cousin squeezed my shoulder as she passed and whispered, "Good for you," so quietly I wasn't sure I heard it right. Later, when the sun started to dip and the kids were tired and sticky, I helped Nana inside a rest. In her quiet living room, away from the noise, Nana sat in her armchair and looked at me with those tired, sharp eyes. You don't have to earn your spot, she said gently. Not with work. Not with silence. I swallowed hard. They act like I do, I whispered. Nana nodded slowly. I know, she said, and it will hurt them if you stop. They'll call it selfish. They'll call it drama. She reached for my hand. But it will save you. When I finally left, Mom didn't hug me goodbye. Dad didn't speak. Ben texted me later. I'm sorry. 2 words. No explanation. No excuses. It wasn't a resolution, but it was something. Driving home, my hands shook on the steering wheel, not from rage, adrenaline coming down. My chest hurt like I'd been holding my breath all day. I kept replaying Mom's words. So you're useful, and Nana's correction. He's sitting with his grandmother. And I realized something that made me cry at a red light like an idiot. The moment Nana defended me, my body relaxed in a way it never has around my parents. Like I'd finally been given permission to exist without performing. I don't know what happens now. I know Mom will frame it as me starting something. I know Dad will avoid it. I know there will be a group chat message about respect and timing. I know I'll be tempted to apologize just to make the tension stop. But I also know this. I'm done being assigned a corner and told to be grateful for it. I'm done being useful as a substitute for being loved. And if my family can only handle me when I'm carrying plates and swallowing words, then maybe they don't actually want me there. They want a version of me that makes them comfortable. Nana wants me there, so I'm going to start choosing that. Even if it makes them uncomfortable. Even if it makes the reunion photos look less perfect. Even if it means I finally stop playing the role they wrote for me before I learned how to read.